Hi Lee. So what are your thoughts on the Sheffield Wednesday defeat a couple of days on, and in particular, I know you're a fan, I think, of Barry Bannon, and that was some goal from him. Any complaints with that or the second?
Yeah, I've got complaints with both goals, to be honest. That we review every goal that gets scored against us with the group, and it becomes an open debate. I think that's important, because it's not a dictatorship. It's a shared venture, if you like, and we got a really honest group, which is nice. And there was 5 or 6 mistakes that led to the second goal, and very unusual for us. That sometimes 1 and 2 can be snuffed out, but when you make 6 on a row, there's some poor decisions been made. But it is what it is. Once that full stop meeting's happened, we move on very quickly and have full focus onto the next game.
There's a lot of games at this time of the season. Does that have any impact on that game, do you think, or not?
I think a lot of things can have an impact, like you got to play the moment. I'm not sure we played that well enough, to be honest, in the game. You got to be vigilant and not make mistakes, and you got to do your jobs very, very well. And unfortunately, we gave ourselves a mountain to climb. Credit to Bannon, it was a fantastic strike. And he's dropped one on a sixpence as well for the second goal. But we knew that. It wasn't something that we hadn't worked on, and therefore the discipline within the players to stop forward play, particularly when he gets in that quarterback position, is important, because Derby have got a similar type player if he plays in Tom Huddleston.
Some of the fans were saying that Scott Duncan was down to be the 4th official for that game. Is that true? Was he
it was. Yeah, that was true. Yeah.
But then he's moved away.
Yeah, well, it's premeditated. So that was before the Aston Villa game. That gets sort of sectioned off for the next 4 or 5 games, and then obviously the referees association have decided it wasn't the right thing to do for various reasons. And
then also, obviously, there was the fine coming about off the back of the Villa game. Has the club not contested that? Have they paid the fine and moved on? Or?
No, we were just talking about it in there. We're certainly going to contest it. I think it's a difficult one, because obviously surrounding the referee is wrong. Do you know what I mean? But when the referee association then admit the mistake, and with our sort of fair play record as it is, there has to be some form of mitigating circumstances to why our players reacted like that. And I don't know. Luckily for me, that's something that I don't have to get majorly involved with, because if I did, it would drive me up the wall.
Who untangles that one?
That'll be Luke Warren. That'll be, yeah. So good luck, mate.
So on to the top 6 then, and Derby County come over next. How do you rate the work that Frank Lampard is doing, and have you been able to speak to John Terry maybe for a few tips on how to get one over, Frank?
No, certainly not. I think John Terry and Frank Lampard and myself are all competing at the moment, So although I'm not as friendly as I'm sure those two are, but I do respect them both as players, obviously, and as coaches. And I think Frank's taken to the role really well, like you'd expect. He's had a front row seat all his life, if you like, with a dad and an uncle that are top coaches and top managers. And I think he's taken to it like a duck to water. He's at a brilliant club in Derby, and he's made some good signings that already went along with a good team that they had, a good base at championship level, and a supportive owner. So I see like Frank having a long career. Like you always look at it and you think he's destined to become Chelsea manager one day, but I can't see any fault really in the job that he's done at Derby so far this season.
Leeds are reportedly going to Vegas if they get promoted. Is there any big incentives for Bristol City in place if the guys do the business, maybe finish in the top 6 or even get promoted?
Yeah, we've got them VIP and Pam-Pams in town. So Scotty Murray sorts that out normally. So at the moment our focus is solely on the next game. It's interesting actually, because when we got promoted with Bristol City when I was playing in from League One, after every win Steve walked in, the boys started singing Marbella on the chairman, and it was quite funny because it built that. It wasn't a lot. It was probably only cost him $2 or $3 grand in flights, but it really did build that sort of rapport, if you like, with the owner. Now it's not quite the same now with the modern day player, but listen, I think the prize is there, and I think the prize is there for the individual. And we got a shot, we've got 3 games to the end of the season. We've got a brilliant home game in a really important occasion, and the boys have got to step up. And I think that's the key for me, is stepping up, embracing the occasion, and with a clean slate after not the performance that we would have hoped, with a 25,000 crowd behind us, like to produce in those moments that are required, whether that be that bit of quality or that tackle. And there's a famous saying in Troy, well, I think it's famous, where there's a battle on, and he says, you worry about your sword and his sword and nothing else. And I think that transfers into football, really, because it's being in the moment, and you can't think about, like, do it for Corey Smith, or do it for the fans, or do it for the family. That's all centred. I think the key is just to make sure that you do your job fantastically well, and we've got players that can do their job really well, and that's what I'll be encouraging as a motivator and a coach.
Are you expecting a fairly open game? You said before, Lee, that sometimes Bristol City seem to do well against other teams who maybe attack a bit more. Is that maybe how you see it?
Yeah, well, I think it's an interesting psychology, isn't it? And from Derby's point of view, like, we know what we've got to do. We know a win's a great result, a draw's not fatal, but a defeat, it will make it difficult and out of our hands. So that we're at home. It's up to us to take the game to the opposition, as it is all home teams, and it'll be interesting to see how they deal with the occasion themselves. But it's a competitive league. The teams are a point apart. You know what I mean? There's a lot of bright young British talent and some seasoned championship campaigners in both sides, and both sides, I think, play an attractive brand of football. So it's all set up for a good stage. And like I said, the boys need to step up, and I'm sure they will, because they're ready for it.
How are the boys looking at the moment? Is there any chance that Nicky Maincar might be back?
Well, we slowly, if you like, we're trying to tick the boxes. Of course, you got to make a decision at some point on when you thrust him in, and that would depend mainly on the player, really, and how he feels. But like I say, it's been a light training build up, really, for him.
Any chance of Callum O'Dowd playing? And also, just some fans will put 2 and 2 together, saying that obviously his contract is expiring in a year. There's nothing in that, is there? That's just coincidence, I think.
Well, you never know, really. It's difficult to know sometimes with that one. I don't think so, because I don't think Callum's that type of lad, if you like. But it is a bit of a funny one in terms of the injury, because the ligament's healed. Yes, he's experiencing a little bit of pain, and that's why I made my comments previously in the press, because sometimes you do get pain, and like, having had a few injuries myself, if the ligament's healed, then you might have to play through it. But in fairness, we give him another injection to hopefully just solidify the ligament, so that the player feels a bit more comfortable, because it's only really in a super extended strike, if you like, i.e. a cross or something where extreme force has got to go through the ligament, that it's nipping him, and even then it goes away after like a minute or two. So someone like me who had 3 or 4 medial injuries, I still get little twinges now if I misconnect with the ball. And again, that comes down to experience, because you need to know what you can and can't play with. And someone like Nicky Maincar, for example, given his age and his career history, will understand that. And maybe Callum hasn't had, luckily, too many injuries, and sometimes you just got to get out there and be a soldier.
But if he's fully fit, you would include him?
Yeah, I think if Callum's fully fit and focused and motivated, then he brings us attributes that we haven't got elsewhere in the squad. So, like I say, I've got no problem with Callum O'Dowd as a lad. He's a fantastic lad and a good student, and he's give his all every time he's played for the football club. So you can't ask any more. I
think your dad said the other day that second Jana has been recalled by Bristol City after.
Yeah, injured.
He's injured, is he?
Yeah, he came back. We did recall him for a couple of reasons. One, we wanted him to obviously talk. He had done the job, and he had done the job for them. 2 is that we wanted to have a real close look at him between now and the end of the season. and 3, we wanted him to travel with us to experience the final games of the season, the atmospheres and the dressing room intensity and things that he wouldn't have experienced ready for next season. Unfortunately, on further investigation of a light niggle that he had, it's proved that it's a bit more than a light niggle and it's probably his season over. So disappointing one, because he does bring something that we haven't got in terms of his strengths. Now he's got plenty of improvement points, but you expect that at a young boy that age. So, but no, he's one with bright potential, as is Semenyo, and I thought he'd done extremely well when he came on the other day, and another one we're excited about.
Just finally, I guess obviously exciting tour to the US just announced by the club yesterday.
Nice one for you, eh, mate?
I'm not a big fan of long ball flights, but we'll see.
You can take 5 short ones.
But yeah, it's been a good season overall, though, generally, hasn't it, for Bristol City? And I guess that you'll have 2 plans for the summer ahead, depending on which league you're in next season. Yeah,
to be honest, I've really focused on the team and the performance this year. Previously, maybe I've spent a little bit too much time at certain times away from the squad in terms of the 3 points, and that's probably a lesson that I learnt from last year. We've talked a lot about getting the recruitment to a place where they're presenting back to me rather than me sort of presenting to the recruitment team, and hopefully we're in that place. Like, we don't know what's going to happen, we're in there fighting, and there's a lot of football to be played and it's all to play for, and I think we're all pleased that with 3 games left we're still in with a place of a playoff spot, and whatever happens, we've got to get better. We have to get better, whether that's better recruitment in the academy, whether that's better facilities, whether that's more detail in the training that I do. Like, every season we've got to get better, and there's no excuses for not doing that, and money's not an excuse either, because money doesn't score goals, players do, and I think the way that you develop, the way that you portray the image of the football club, and particularly with the contacts and connections we've made at very big clubs, we negate that the difference, if you like, between sometimes the parachute payments and where we are.
Thanks, Lee, and good luck for Saturday.
Thank you.
Lee, effectively this is a must-win game for you. The pressure is on, I guess, but are you enjoying that, and are you enjoying the opportunity to push City towards the playoffs?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that you don't enjoy losing. You know what I mean? I'd be mad if I said I enjoy losing, but you take your lessons, you know, you take it on the chin and you move on, and luckily we've got another chance, if you like. Now, I actually don't think it's much must win. I think we can't really afford to lose it, but even then there's still half a chance that we could do it. But I said earlier, we've got to step up to the occasion, and it is a big occasion, and you want to be, you know what I mean, you want to be in these big occasions at the business end of the season, and I think our lads are reasonably experienced now. We've had a couple of good cup runs, and players have had big games to play in, so I don't think it will faze them in a negative way. The challenge for any athlete, whether you're a football player or an Olympian or whatever, is when you hit that big stage and cross that white line, to perform to your absolute best. And at times we've done that this season, at times we've felt short, and if you've got 7 or 8, sort of getting a 7 or 8 out of 10 at this level, there's a good chance you'll go on to win the game.
And regardless of whether you make the top 6 or not, do you feel that progress has been made from last season? Do you feel like this is a better team?
Yeah, I do. I think progress everywhere in the football club, you know, the hard work that everybody's put in, like we just talked about, recruitment structure, young players coming through, lots of young players out on loan performing very, very well and gaining promotions in whatever league they're in. And it doesn't matter, because you can only win the league you're in. But it gives that positive feel, it makes the players believe that they're worthy, gives them a new gravitas. And I think on the pitch, our style is evolving depending on the personnel, and we've got to keep getting better no matter what happens this season, whether we're in the playoffs or not. We've got to make sure that next season we come back stronger, better recruitment, smarter training. Do you know what I mean? More young players coming through, and that's the drive that myself, the owner, the board, Mark Ashton, have to live to, and it becomes a lifestyle more than it is a job.
Thanks, Lee.
Okay.
Thank
you.
Thank you very much.